Okay, this is great. So we are about a year from your transplant, and you look glorious.
Thank you.
And I wanted to just sort of just hear a little bit about what the journey has been for you over the course of the year, and just to talk a little bit. So tell me a little bit how you found. We talked about it in the suite. How you found me and what was important.
Yeah, I did a lot of research online. I'm looking for the right, I guess, dermatologist or surgeon. One of the most important things for me was looking for African American and Black physician, because I wanted someone who, from the get-go, would understand, why I wore braids and why I wore weaves and why I wore wigs, because the mother did the same thing, or the sister did the same thing, or the daughter was going through the same thing, preferring straight hair to curly hair. I didn't want to come in and start explaining, oh, weave is this, and then you braid your hair like this, and then you sit for hours, and I didn't want that. I really wanted to come in and someone to understand that this is what is considered culturally appropriate and beautiful for women of color or Black women, and ways to modify or ways to do things differently. Not because I felt like somebody who wasn't Black would say, oh, just stop braids or stop this, without seeing that there was a whole bunch of things that went into it. It's so easy. Like, I just wanted somebody who would understand immediately.
I mean,
no explanation.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate, right? So you wanted someone that had, we call that like competence,
culturally competent in not just I went to school and learned it, but like this is what I live on a daily basis. I see, like, not cultural competency from a class, but cultural competency because you're part of the culture also. And it was just important to me because I didn't want a long explanation of having to justify years and years of this type of styling.
And it's funny how sometimes I guess these ideas around cultural competency mean more in certain situations, and I guess in the context of sort of this hair thing and your relationship with your hair, and that there was an issue, you wanted someone to really, I guess, be aligned with that from the get-go.
I would not have married if I was having heart surgery or hip replacement. It would not really matter. Anybody who is competent is competent clinically, but when it came to this, hair and face and skin, I really want someone who is culturally competent because you're part of the culture and you understand more in-depthly why I styled my hair this way for so long that led to this.
And so give me a little background. You're coming from where, right?
I'm Nigerian, and I got here in 2001. I started school in Lynchburg, Virginia, and so I went to school, and I went to grad school, and I went to some more school, and now I'm here. But and I started perming. I put a perm in my hair, it's a perm or a relaxer in my hair when I was 9.
But and this is when you were in Nigeria, right?
Yes. And so even in Nigeria, it's like you don't see natural hair. People are like, "What are you doing?" My mother's like, "Do something to your hair." Like
even now,
even now, she's like, "Do something to it." Like nobody's gonna want to marry you. Like do something to your hair. Like so in Nigeria, it's very much the culture to wear weaves and wigs and braids. And so even as a kid, they have styles. Like as a kid in school, they tell you this is the style for the week. So all the girls will braid their hair in one style for the whole week.
For the whole week.
Yes, and then the weekend they'll tell another style. And so everyone is uniform, boys and girls. And so so that was the norm. So at 9, I really, really wanted straight hair, and I begged and I begged and I begged and I begged, and my mother was like, "Fine, we just do it." And that's how it started. And
so even at 9 wanting straight hair, it was, and give me a sense of why,
I think that I felt like because the women who were caring for my hair, didn't know, like now I've learned that I don't comb my hair dry, I comb it wet with a lot of conditioner, it's more malleable,
so what it's painful, right?
But then they would just comb it, and it would be so painful, and I'd cry and cry and cry, and then of course, watch TV and read books, and everyone on TV and all the little girls in the little books that I read a lot of British books, because Nigeria was colonized by the British. And so all the little girls in the books, had long straight hair. And so to me, that was the ideal at the time. And my mom didn't, think any different.
Right.
And then this was in the culture, or not culture, but where it's typical for women to use bleaching creams because, so, having straight hair, that is more manageable with me, less crying when I go to get my hair done was okay. So looking back, that's why I wanted straight hair.
And it's interesting that you've gone through, cycles of consciousness then, to get to a place now where, where there was damage, and then you're sort of reclaiming what seems to be a more health-mindful attitude towards your hair, but you as a whole. Give me a little bit of, background on that.
Yeah, because once this happened, like I used to braid my hair all the time, and then in 2009 I did braids, and then that was it. For some reason, I don't know what happened. Everything was gone.
It was gone in 2009.
2009, just one braid session, and so I
after
cut my
one
hair,
braid session.
After years and years of doing it. I guess it was just build up, or it was just the person. I don't know what it was, but that one time, 2009 in January.
When did you move here?
I moved here in 2001, so I'd actually
so
gone
you'd already
home.
been here, all right.
Yeah, I had gone home, and my sister was like, "Let me treat you. Let me pay for you to get your hair done." And so, in Nigeria, or if you go to a lot of African hair braiding places, they pull everything, plus your eyebrows and your eyelashes, like everything is tied down.
Right.
And so they pulled every single strand, and I don't know why it came off.
And it came out. And
yes.
so that braiding, was that done in Nigeria?
That was done in Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then so you lost it
I
then.
lost it. And
wow.
so in March, I cut off all my hair. I was thinking, okay, let me not do anything. And let me see if it's going to grow back.
It didn't grow back.
And then I tried all these different things. I tried minoxidil. But I was not very consistent. So in fairness to the treatment, I wasn't consistent like for the full 30 days or 60 days. And then I started wearing wigs, to cover it up because I did not like the way my face looked with no hair. I just did not see it as attractive. That's the only thing I would see in pictures. Every time I'd look, I would just see the
hair
baldness.
gone.
Yeah. And so with wigs, it looked great, and that took me for years until
you came. So
a
wig was your primary hairstyle for
a while. Wigs, braids. Either I do braids and have them cover the front, or wigs. After I cut it, I had it short, really, really short for about 3 years. And then it didn't grow back. It didn't help it grow back. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to just grow it out and start wearing weaves and wigs. So I think from about 2011 till I came here.
Wow. So you found me, right? A little bit about, you did some research.
Oh yeah, I did a lot of research. It took me about a year. I don't know why it took so long, but it took a year to kind of like parse through the blogs and through the because like if you search if you search black surgeons, it'll come up with so many other different things. And so it took about a year to finally like hone it down. And I think it was through Essence magazine or I want to say it was Essence magazine. There was an article about you and talking about hair transplant, and so I think from there, and then I did a lot more research, and then I saved it and I sent an email. I found your website and I watched all the pictures, the before and after pictures. I'm like, this is what I'm looking for exactly. And so then I sent an email, and then they emailed me back, oh, when would you like to have a consultation? And then I never, I didn't call. I got scared and I saved the email as new for like 6 months.
Wow.
It was in December, and I didn't contact your office until June.
June,
yes.
Right, exactly.
So it took me a year to actually reach out, and then it took me 6 months to actually call. So when I called, and she was like, oh, when would you like to make your appointment? I'm like, oh my gosh, like already? Like you don't have a waiting list, like you can see him right away. Are you sure? Like it happened so fast.
Right.
And before I know it, I booked the appointment and I came and got it done. It was seamless.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you, because this is what, makes me, it energizes me, to see folks go through, this pretty rapid transition. Still,
Yes.
it's a year and a half, but to go from where you were to where you are now
Yes.
is just totally fulfilling.
Yeah, and I think it also spurred me on to start, once I did that, I was like, okay, so then I have to have a new, because for a while, maybe it was just a combination of, it was multifaceted, just going from somebody who was really athletic and fit, and, you know, this wigs that made me feel beautiful and look beautiful, and then I decided, okay, I'm just gonna cut off all my hair, and then I had to live with a new face, and I didn't feel as attractive, and so I feel like I just allowed myself to then start eating the things that I didn't normally eat before, not sleeping well, you know, and I started to gain weight. So then after I did the transplant, I'm like, all right, you know, this is it. You gotta get back on track.
Back to your A game,
yeah,
right?
I was like, I have to get it back on. So I started eating clean and exercising, and then just losing, you know, lost most of all the excess weight that I gained, and that was the catalyst, you know, was okay, you know, you've done this, you're spending good money on yourself, so you then have to, you know, put good things in your body, you have to, you know, so that was the catalyst. I started eating. So
your hair growth really was a catalyst to this overall sort of health mindful sort of personal growth pathway. And I'll talk about that, and you're really living it.
Yeah, because I started I did this in June of last year. And then it was like, you know, slowly I was like, okay, I need to do, and in September was when I came.
Yeah, that's right, we did the PR.
Yes.
So talk about,
and in October, I totally, so in September, I came for the PRP.
Right.
And prior to then, you know, I wasn't expecting too much growth, because you had said you said it would take about 3 months, and so, you know, my expectations were very well managed, because the post-op instructions were very detailed and when to anticipate new growth. So I was like, okay, this is normal. I shouldn't see any growth at this point.
Right.
And then I came and got the PRP, and it seemed, you know, it was, maybe it was the timing, but it seemed like overnight it was like the chia commercials.
Chia.
Like chia, like, oh my gosh. By December, everything was here in December.
And so that's important, you know. So you did your transplant. I saw you back at 3 months. There wasn't much growth, right?
No.
But we did a little PRP, and the idea was that accelerated. And I think that that's what I see a lot of times in my patients. And so you know, by 6 months, you're like, wow, like the chia plant. And so that's quicker than what we typically would see.
Yeah.
You know?
And I remember you talked about, when I was asking you, like, how long do you anticipate growth? And I remember I asked you, how long have you seen, like, what is the quickest you've seen someone grow hair? And I remember you mentioned the lady who just went through like a whole transformation spiritually. It wasn't just the hair, and that in 6 months, you know, her hair grew back. I was like, oh, okay. Well, maybe that can be me.
So it's still the accelerated plan. You're on the accelerated plan, which is cool.
In 6 months, it was boom. It was fully grown. It was fully grown. Like, yeah, it was all. This is just. It's been there since December, really. And I was gonna come back in December to take pictures, but then I almost missed my flight, so I didn't get to come back. Because then you would have seen the 6 months, because everything was there in December.
I love it. So thank you for sharing. This has been a joy. So keep growing.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm glad I came.
All right. Bye-bye.